Good evening. Hi, I'm Brooke Schiller, and I am a leadership and team effectiveness consultant, neurocoach, organizational anthropologist, and storyteller. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit tonight about me, what I love, some turning point moments in my career, and leave you with a little bit of insight before we wrap up. So that's me. That's my professional headshot for my consulting business. And this is my unprofessional headshot. This is me back in my Chico State days with my then boyfriend, now husband. And this is our family. And we've been together ever since. There are two main through lines through my practice that I feature with most of my consulting clients. Insights is about communication and connecting people through communication for better business outcomes. And the About My Brain Institute and Neuroleadership, which is what I'm going to be talking primarily about tonight, is really about integrating the brain and the body processes so that you can be the best leader, not only at work, but in life. So with that being said, I want to talk a little bit about my journey here. Perhaps you have seen this video on your social media feed. I was in Chico between 1986 and 1990. When I got here, I had no idea what I wanted to be when I grew up. So I basically opened up the catalog, back then it was a catalog, flipped through the pages and said, that's it, and I landed on organizational communication, which I now hear is affectionately known as business without math. I think I knew that at the time. So I went for it, and I found myself in my intro to presentation skills class with Dr. Rick Rigsby, who was an instructor here at Chico at the time. It was in that class that I got my first exposure to public speaking and learned that not only did I love it, I was kind of good at it. And that ignited my passion for speaking and coaching and teaching that I've been doing for the last 20 plus years. The teacher who inspired me in that moment was Dr. Rick Rigsby. And just recently, a few months ago, I was scrolling through my social media feed and I saw this video from Goalcast, and there he was. And there were all my friends just oohing and awing about what a great motivational speech this was, and I said, he was my teacher at Chico. He was one of my inspirations, and I talk about him so many times in the years since. So I think it's pretty cool to come full circle and know that my inspiration was really born right here. From Chico, I went through university recruiting. I joined Gap Inc., and I worked there for 9 years in both the field and corporate operations. And then I moved into high tech in the boom period, and I worked in hardware and software. But it was in my Gap days where I really discovered my desire to help grow and develop people. So I brought my learning and development or my organizational communication degree to bear, and I have been ever since. So I've been doing this a long time, as you can tell, and it wasn't until the last 5 years, I would say, where I started to really understand the concept of neuroleadership, brain and leadership coming together. And it came for me as I started to study a growing body of research that is really suggesting that we're moving from the information age to what's been known out there in my industry as the imagination age. The theoretical period in time where ideas and creativity are going to be the currency. They're going to bring economic value. So that imagination age really inspired me. It's not to say knowledge doesn't matter. It does, but we're building on that with our ideas and creativity. We're breaking down hierarchies. Leaders are everywhere. You don't have to have a title to be one. And that's the true meaning of a neuro leader. So if that's the direction we're heading, then I thought to myself, how am I going to be ready at my age, at any age? How am I going to be ready to continually evolve my skills? And so that's what I'd like to talk a little bit more and go deeper on in the rest of my time with you this evening. So what are the skills? What are the skills that are going to equip us to be competitive in the imagination age? That's when I discovered the About My Brain Institute and really started honing my interest in this neuroleadership topic. The particular model that I've grown accustomed to and I work with clients on is called the I-4 model, and it's got 4 I's, so it's pretty simple to remember. And they are integration, inspiration, imagination, and intuition. And those 4 I's, those 4 competencies are sort of stood up by 16 skills that I think are really going to be pivotal and important for you to embrace as you move into the world of work. So for each of these 4 I's, I talk to people in the work environment and they say, what the heck is that? But when I translate it into business terms like performance, collaboration, innovation, and agility, oh, their ears perk up, you can bet, right? And so you add in the neuro stuff, and I've got Silicon Valley really interested in this topic. So those are the 4 key outcomes of these 4 I's. And then there are specific skills underneath each one. So let's dig in. Before I do, though, I want to say, what would you think, or what would you say if I said these skills are already inside you? They're not something you have to go out and learn about or take a class for. In fact, I don't know that a class exists for innovation. But when we turn inward and we tap into ourselves and our own native genius, these things start to rise to the surface. So let me share with you how that happens. First, integration. Integration is simply integrating your brain and your body. When you do that, it results in optimal performance. The skills that you need in order to have an integrated brain and body are balance, ethics, and mental readiness. When this system is working, those things happen. So what I'd like you to think about, and I'm going to give you a little bit of work during our last couple of minutes together, is I'd like you to think about a time when you performed at an optimal level, both mentally and physically. Note it in your mind, jot it down, note that time. See if you can think of something, note it, capture it. The second skill I want to talk about is inspiration. So what is inspiration? It's when we ignite action. Think about a time when you were inspired. It makes you want to go out and do something. And when we are inspired, we collaborate. We work together as a team. So that is going to require communication. That's key. It's also going to require being generous, not only with money, not even with money, but with time, resources, removing hurdles for those around you. And it also requires courage. Having the courage to stand up and say, let's go for it, let's do this together. So, second question. I'd like you to think of a time when you achieved a common goal through the combined effort of working together. I'm pretty sure you can think of a time. That's inspiration in action. The third skill, imagination. What is imagination? It's creating something, or the ability to create something that currently doesn't exist. Well, that leads to innovation. Those two go hand in hand. And when we're using our imagination, and for some reason we're told to kind of put that away when we grow up, like imagination doesn't belong in the work environment. Well, it certainly does, because innovation happens there. And when we think about our imagination, we are going to rely on drive, curiosity, and attitude. Those are the things that are going to get you through. Again, third question here. Think about a time when you made something where there was nothing and you brought it to life. Think about a time when you made that happen. Last but not least, intuition. Intuition is that sixth sense we all have. But again, I think it gets kind of put aside. We'd rather be focusing on thinking rather than this sixth sense. But it takes all your life experiences, pulls them together, and it's your ability to make meaning from that. And when you tap into your intuition, you become more agile. I guarantee it. I've seen it myself. So when you're more agile, you're adaptable. You can see around the corner. You have influence because you know what to expect. And it's not because you're psychic, but it's because you're paying attention. You're actually noticing. So think about a time when you read the environment and you were able to pull together an action. Got it? Note it. Those 4 questions right there, if you were able to think of even one answer, you already have the skills. The key now is to cultivate them. So I'm going to leave you with a motto you already know well, which is today decides tomorrow. When you go out into the work world, when you continue your career here at Chico State, you might already be sitting in a class that's going to set you on a trajectory. You already have the skills you need to be successful, but you need to take what I like to call a mindfulness moment. Take a moment to notice it, and then note it through journaling or any tool that works for you, and then go out and activate it. Put it into action, because what you do today decides tomorrow, and tomorrow is already here. So with that, thank you very much.